My wife looked me in the eyes at her own birthday dinner and asked me to pretend I didn't exist. "Stay quiet," she whispered, "or we're done." I didn't understand it then, but by the end of that night, I understood everything. My name is Ryan Bennett. I'm 34 years old. I live in Portland, Oregon with my wife Claire and our 5-year-old daughter, Lily. Claire and I met 7 years ago at a friend's wedding. She was loud in the best way, the kind of woman who filled a room just by walking into it. I fell for her within a month. We built a good life. Not perfect, but good. So when her birthday came around that October, I planned everything myself. Reservation at her favorite Italian place. Her parents invited. Her sister flying in from Chicago. I wanted it to be the best birthday she'd had in years. I had no idea she'd already invited someone I didn't know about. The dinner started normally, wine glasses clinking. Her father telling the same old fishing story. Lily coloring on the paper tablecloth. Then the door opened. Claire's face changed the second she saw him. A tall man in a gray coat. Confident walk. He scanned the table until his eyes landed on Claire. "Hey, Claire." Her mother went stiff. Her sister dropped her fork. I looked at Claire. "Who is that?" She grabbed my hand under the table. Hard. "That's Marcus," she said quietly. "My ex." Before I could respond, Marcus was already pulling up a chair, like he belonged there. I didn't grow up around drama. My family was calm, maybe too calm. So I genuinely didn't know what to do with the tension sitting across the table from me, smiling like he owned the place. Claire's sister, Emily, kept shooting her nervous glances. Her mother wouldn't make eye contact with anyone. Something was going on that I wasn't part of. Then Claire leaned close to me, her lips barely moving. "Please, Ryan, just stay quiet tonight. Don't ask questions. Don't make this harder than it already is. Claire, he just sat down at your birthday dinner like it's normal." "Ryan." Her eyes were pleading now. "Stay quiet or we're done. I mean it." Those words hit me harder than anything Marcus could have said. 7 years of marriage and she was choosing his comfort over my confusion. I stayed quiet. For almost 40 minutes, I stayed quiet. I watched Marcus talk about his new company in Seattle. I watched him laugh a little too easily with Claire's mother, like he'd done this before, like he'd sat at this table 100 times. I watched Claire's hand shake every time she reached for her wine glass. Something wasn't adding up. This wasn't a man who just showed up uninvited. This was a man Claire had let in, and that's when Lily, my 5-year-old, looked up from her coloring and asked the question that changed everything. "Mommy, is that the man from the pictures in Grandma's box?" The table went silent. Claire's mother's face went pale. Marcus stopped talking mid-sentence. "Lily, sweetheart," Claire said quickly, "eat your pasta." But Lily, 5 years old and completely unaware of the storm she just started, kept going. "The pictures where you're wearing the white dress. Grandma said that was a long time ago." I felt my stomach drop. "Claire," I said slowly, "what is she talking about?" Claire's eyes filled with tears. Her mother reached for her hand, and Marcus, the man I'd known for less than an hour, finally spoke. "I think it's time she knew the truth, Claire. 7 years is long enough." Here's what I didn't know. Before me, Claire had been engaged, not dated. Engaged to Marcus. 3 weeks before their wedding, Marcus left. No explanation, no goodbye, just a text message and a returned ring. Claire never told me because she was ashamed. Ashamed that she'd built her whole future around a man who vanished. Ashamed that people in her family still whispered about it years later. And that night, Marcus hadn't come back for closure. He'd come back. Because his mother was dying, and in her final weeks, she'd asked to see Claire one more time. She had always loved Claire like a daughter. Marcus had been too much of a coward to face Claire himself, so he'd shown up at the one place he knew she'd be, hoping Claire's mother would help soften the moment. Claire wasn't protecting a secret romance. She was protecting herself from reliving the worst humiliation of her life, in front of her husband, her daughter, and her entire family. "I didn't want you to see me like that," she told me later, her voice breaking. "Weak, foolish, the woman who got left at the altar. I didn't want that to be the story you knew about me." I won't pretend that night ended easily. I was hurt that she'd hidden something that big for 7 years. I was hurt that she'd asked me to disappear at her own birthday table instead of trusting me with the truth. But sitting in our car afterward, watching her cry into her hands, I realized something. Claire wasn't ashamed of loving me less. She was ashamed of a wound that had never actually healed, one she'd buried instead of facing. You didn't need to protect me from your past, I told her. You needed to let me stand next to you while you faced it. We didn't fix everything that night. Healing doesn't work that way, but we started talking, really talking, for the first time in years about the parts of ourselves we keep hidden even from the people we love most. Marcus visited his mother one last time before she passed. Claire went with him and I went with Claire, not out of jealousy, out of respect for what she needed to close. Today, Claire and I are stronger than we've ever been, not because the past disappeared, but because we stopped pretending it didn't exist. If you're listening to this and you're carrying a piece of your story you've never told the person you love most out of shame, out of fear, out of protecting an image that isn't even true anymore, let it go. The people who truly love you were never asking for your perfect past. They were only ever asking for you.